The fate is disturbing.
Believe it. Okay.
What's going on, geeks? You're listening to episode 364 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name is Cody Armour. I'm here with LJ Lowry.
Yo!
And Shelly Nolan.
Hello.
I just want to point out before we get going, I don't realize that I do that. I don't do it on purpose, but we will just be in complete silence for a second while I gather myself, and then I'll just start shouting into the microphone. So
you gotta get pumped up. Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going.
Yep, it's true.
It's great. Every time. I notice it almost every time.
It wakes
So I'm
us
never
up.
like, all right, let's do this, and then I do it.
Gets
It's
us
like
into
this,
the
like
zone. I mean,
It wakes us up. It's just like, oh!
lock
so
us
good.
in.
We have a really fun podcast ahead, but before we get into it, I just felt like we would be kind of remiss to be like, just ignore what's happening. And so we did want to say that our prayers are with everyone suffering in the Middle East. War is just never fun, and there are lives, that are just no longer here, and that is a somber and sad note. And so to have a fun podcast and just completely not acknowledge that, just felt a little wrong. So I just wanted, our thoughts and our prayers are with everybody that is suffering. So from there, we'll get into the podcast. We're geeked out about the new voice of Mario, the end of an MCU era, and a Gargoyles live action. Gargoyle live action. And I was going to try to fit a pun in there, but now it's too late. I guess you could say that I've reached the statute of limitations.
Ah! It was a stretch, but I love it.
Oh my gosh.
You had to put in some work for it, but I love it.
Yeah, I got there. We will get into the games that we've been playing. For me, it's still Horizon, guys. That game, I think one of the biggest problems with that game might be that it's too big. That creates repetition.
For sure. I think it's one of the main reasons I haven't gone back to it at all. I finally tried to install it today. Because I'm like, I need to make room for Spider-Man.
I'm having a lot of fun with the side missions, but there's so many side missions.
Yeah. Eventually I'll go back. But yeah, it is just so big. I'm so tired of these huge games.
And it needs more creatures. Like, it needs more dinosaurs or whatever. More machines. It has quite a few, but I feel like because it's so big and I'm doing such repetitive things, it would be more fun if I had other things to fight besides what I'm fighting all the time. I got really excited because they kept hyping up this monster, and this big monster in the desert. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to fight this thing. And then it was something that I have fought like 3 times already. I'm like, oh, you should have had something like specifically for this mission. That would have been cool. That I had to like hunt down and figure out what it was, because the way they were making it sound, it was this like urban legend. And I was like, oh, I've got like 3 of those in my backpack. That makes sense.
3 urban legends in your backpack.
Yeah. But LJ, what have you been playing?
I've been playing some fun stuff. After kind of beating Illusion Island, I was like, I don't really know what to play right now. I was kind of bouncing around, and then I saw that Mirage, the new Assassin's Creed game, was not like a budget title, but it wasn't like a full 70. It was like $50. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's not going to hurt my pocket too much. So I've been playing a little bit of Assassin's Creed Mirage, which I think it's a great return to form. Like, it's not going to be one of those games that's like, I don't think it's going to be Game of the Year or anything, or even be in that category. But I think it is super refreshing to have a traditional Assassin's Creed game. I like Basim. He's the one that's in Valhalla.
Yeah.
And it's cool. You kind of get to see, which I was always kind of interested in. I'm like, ooh, he's an assassin. Like, I wonder what his story is. So it's really cool. You spend a lot of time in Baghdad. It's interesting. It brings back that old feel of the first couple Assassin's Creed games where you definitely got to watch your step in restricted areas, take that, tear off wanted posters, kind of a thing. Very stealth oriented. The combat definitely takes a back seat. I like it. I think it's a fun return to form, and I think it's really good for lapsed Assassin's Creed fans, especially. So I enjoyed it a lot, and it just feels like everything you do in that game is very, like, you have to be kind of deliberate and just in everything you do and the way you sneak in. You can find multiple ways into an area too, especially if it's like a main mission. They have the thing where you can like, recruit like people to distract the guards and stuff like that. It's cool. It's fun. It's real nice. Mm-hmm. Definitely want to play it more. I've still been bouncing around between some stuff, but that's kind of been the big thing. And then something that we got a code for on Friday was Sonic Superstars. Embargo has lifted already as well, so it actually doesn't come out. So it comes out tomorrow as of this recording, so on Tuesday. So it's been cool. I had the weekend with it. Got to play with my nephew. He's a hardcore Sonic fan. I think this is the game, like, if you want to get kids into Sonic, or if you want to play together. Tails was always like, oh, that's the little brother controller, because Tails never really does much. Like, you can just run around across the screen back and forth or whatever. Tails doesn't really have a lot of contributions. But this time, it's 1 to 4 players. You get these cool little powers every time you collect an emerald, and so it's like you're intentionally collecting the emeralds. Like in the old games, it was so hard to even collect them because you'd have to complete the bonus stages and stuff. It's a lot of fun. There's different, like, since it was the deluxe edition, I think they're coming out with they just came out with a Lego set too, so there's like, you can play as Lego versions of all the characters. You can play as Sonic, Knuckles, Amy, and Tails. So it was real cool the first time when me and my nephew, like, we got to like the boss fight, and it showed, like, it kind of zoomed into the characters and showed both of us standing there like ready to fight. I was like, oh my gosh, I was geeking out, like, because it's the first true co-op experience I've had with my nephew, and he's 6 years old, and
that's cool. They
finally figured out a way to. It reminds me of when like how the new Super Mario Brothers games are like 4 players now, like, so it's like those have always been a way that families can play Mario together. But I think this is the perfect way, for siblings and families to play Sonic and to introduce.
So what happens if you get too far away from each other? Because I remember like Tails would just kind of
lose
control and fly up to you.
You can hit a button, so whoever goes off screen, you can just hit X and you'll pop back on screen. Like, there have been times where even he'd put me in the dust because he'd just keep going. There's like little multi-pathways and little secret areas and collectibles and stuff. So they encourage you to like slow down a little bit, which if there was a Sonic Bible, like, that would be like heresy. For like, but I think it's fine. Like, if you have to slow the pace for somebody to play, that's not really like the way my nephew has played, he's trained that way too, because old Sonic games, it's just go. So I'm just even like, oh, like, I can't look and go find to see if there's extra stuff, because he's just gonna keep going. So it's real fun. It's not a long game. I believe it encourages replayability. But it is a super fun time. So I think, like, this is finally the way that, like, definitely feels like a true multiplayer Sonic game. Like, I know there are like multiplayer options, like races and stuff you could do, like in the old Sonic games and stuff, and even Sonic Adventure 2 had like the battle mode and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
But there have been ways, but I feel like this feels like the most true co-op Sonic experience I've ever played. The abilities are kind of neat. One of my favorites is you can do this clone thing, and it just basically reminds me of like if Sonic did a shadow clone jutsu, and there's like a bunch of like Sonics on the screen. Like, just like, you can take down a whole screen full of enemies that way. It's super fun. Like, it was one of those games, like, I knew I was probably going to buy. Like, I didn't go out of my way to even ask for the code or expect it. I was just kind of like, oh, whatever, like, so I'm grateful that I did get to check it out, and I did get to have that experience with him, because I was like, I got to buy a second controller, and I'm about to go to work, and so I literally had, I guess at GameStop you can get same day delivery for like for items, and so they literally use DoorDash or Uber Eats to deliver your item to you. So like I had somebody come to my work and basically deliver me the controller after I paid for it. And so I was like, this works out, because like they're coming, like he was coming right after I got off work. So yeah, that's just one of those experiences I'll probably won't forget. Like, it was super cool. So it's a fun game. I don't know like what the price point is, but I'm sure it'll go on sale pretty soon. But if you're just looking for a fun chill multiplayer experience, I think that's a good way to go. So yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Shelly?
I'll segue off of that a little bit because I ended up playing Sonic Adventure DX. And you mentioned Sonic Adventure Battle 2. Actually, because I have them both, and I was trying to get battle mode working, and I was because I had some friends over, and I was so bummed I could not get it working, unfortunately. But I just ended up playing Sonic Adventure DX. And I played through Sonic's whole story. There's if you're not familiar with the games, at least Sonic Adventure DX, that first one has 5 or 6 different characters to play, and you're kind of playing through the same story but from different perspectives. So Sonic is obviously the main one. That's where you get most of the main things that are happening. But then every other character you kind of run into throughout the story, like Amy, for example, and Pig the cat. It's part of me wants to complete the game and straight up just play all of them. But Big the cat, fishing in that game is not very good.
Yeah, his is a fishing mini game kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really weird. Very
Tails has a super short story if you want to do that one. I think Amy might have a super short story too.
Yeah, and I remember it's just man, so much nostalgia. Again, I'm not usually someone who's well, I guess let me rephrase it. I don't think nostalgia is necessarily that bad. I just get tired of oh, we're gonna always remake this or reboot this or whatever purely to make money for nostalgia's sake. I'm no, I'm just replaying an old game that I own. Okay, it's not a new fresh thing.
Right.
It's just.
And I played more of that one than Adventure 2, so that's where I have most of the nostalgia.
I played a lot of Adventure 2.
Yeah, I don't remember which one I played more of. I do think it was kind of equal between the two.
The chows were so much better in 2.
Yeah, I agree. I have my little chows. I got my little golden boy from the Golden Egg. I got a white one. I got a couple others, and I was competing them in one of the little races that you can compete them in.
Yeah, raising the chow was fun.
That is really, I mean,
not throwing them at walls. Don't do that.
And on the Dreamcast, you could treat it like a little, almost like a Tamagotchi, because you can take the little Dreamcast card and do stuff with that too.
I'm saying they
you could in the GameCube version, you put it on your Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, which is what I used to do for sure.
That's cool.
But I remember doing that, and you had a little place where they'd walk around and you would interact with them and stuff. Yeah, I remember doing that a lot as a kid.
That's funny. I remembered you telling that story a good few years ago on the podcast.
Throwing them at the wall. You guys, I think I got tweets about it.
Yeah,
they were you're a bad person.
Yeah.
For context, guys, to get the bad chows, apparently you can use villains to take care of them and they will be bad, or you can just throw the egg at the wall and it'll hatch and not love you, and you can just keep abusing it.
Hey, no,
and it also will turn.
They don't. I mean, it's to give them different personalities. So I jumped on a couple. To hatch them. Is that as bad? Maybe it is. I don't know.
But you could just use Shadow. If you just use Shadow in Sonic 2, you just use Shadow
I'm talking the first game.
Okay. Yeah. So Sonic 2, you could abuse them, or you could just use Shadow the Hedgehog and love them as Shadow, and they would do the same. It would have the same effect. But it was so much easier just to throw them at a wall.
Yeah.
I do want to. Yeah.
And then the other thing that I did was I left my GameCube on all night because I didn't know that they died. Just so that it could evolve, and then I woke up to a dead chow.
Oh no!
I do want to add that
chows are my friends.
When Shelly posted that she finished Adventure, I was like, ooh, I should install that on my Steam Deck, and so I installed Adventure 2, and those games run. I mean, at least the second one runs amazing on the Steam Deck. I was like, ooh,
that's so cool. I love Adventure 2.
Yeah,
such a good game.
Adventure
1 was good too, but
very, very nostalgic, and I'll play the second one as well, probably too. Just because I got them both again, and it was just so nice.
And then you play Sonic 06.
The music, no, not 06. The music.
06 was an amazing experience for me.
Maybe I'll play it someday. Maybe
on a Twitch stream.
I'd have to, on a Twitch stream, I would have to. I couldn't by myself.
There's no way I could have played that.
My
for my
nephew
own
keeps
enjoyment.
asking me if I have Sonic 06 or played Sonic 06 because he saw something about it on YouTube Kids, and I'm like, yeah, sure. But then in my head, I'm like, we don't talk about that one. Like,
Speaking of
It was a lot of fun.
really bad games, I just remembered another game I played this week. I forgot to mention it. But I'll talk about it now. So my husband, he, for some reason, all of a sudden, found a resource where you can play these old games by Pangea Studios, Pangea something. Like, it's... Yeah, he found all these old games that him and his brother used to grow up playing on the Mac. And he's like, Shelly, you have to play these. And I'm like, really? Do I have to? So I ended up playing Bugdom 2. You play as a grasshopper. I never heard of these games, by the way. Half the reason I'm mentioning this is in case any of our listeners ever played these games growing up, and if I'm
it sounds vaguely familiar.
No, it doesn't.
So you play as a grasshopper.
I mean, I'm
and
wondering
a big
if
bee stole your knapsack, and you're trying to get it back, and it's like a 3D, not platformer, kind of like you're roaming around these 3D spaces. What is neat about it is that, like, you know, you're a grasshopper, and so you're in the backyard, and everything's big around you, and that's kind of cool. That's kind of fun. It's not a very good game, though, but I did beat it.
I feel like I've seen this image in somewhere. It's just one of those things.
What is this called?
Bugdom 2.
Bugdom 2. And there's a Bugdom 1, but I played the second one.
It's almost
and
just
like
what? it's kind of nightmare.
I just remembered
feel,
I beat this game, and I didn't put it in backlog. I need to put it in backlog. That counts. That counts. I did not complete it. There's things to complete it. I did not complete it.
It's just one of those cursed images that I feel like I've probably seen before. It's like,
well, and
it's like a Mandela effect kind of thing.
You commit war crimes in the game. That's the craziest part. So you
terrible.
get to this point in which you so you get to this point where you get in this little toy plane, and I don't know how this has to do anything with your knapsack, but you're flying around dropping bombs in anthills. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? This is part of this game? And I'm like,
sad.
This is... I can't.
You're the bad guy in Bug's Life. Is it Bug's Life?
Yeah.
Is he a grasshopper?
Yeah. Yeah, I was. It's like, I was asking myself multiple times throughout this game, this experience, if you will. Is this knapsack really worth it? All this effort, all this destruction.
It looks like, what was that game called? Bad Fur Day? Conker's Bad Fur Day?
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like that.
Yeah. So,
It probably looks a lot like Bug's Life N64. I bet it does.
I'm really curious if any of our listeners have played this game and know what the heck I'm talking
That's why
about.
I like it. Just feels like a Mandela effect kind of a thing. Like, I feel like I've
100% looks like Bug's Life 64.
It used to be on
I've seen
Mac
that
for
art.
free.
I've seen
you
that
could just
art
get
somewhere.
these-
Like, I feel like I have, but I just,
Like, someone played that game and was like, we could do that.
Yeah, basically. And they made a bunch of different games. Daniel was also playing this racing one. I don't remember what it's called, but I did not play that one, and it looks like literally the most chaotic racing game ever, because it was back when there was no technology to be able to play. At least the game itself didn't support multiplayer, as far as I'm aware. Maybe it did. And it obviously didn't have online multiplayer, so your goal is to go through these races, and it's caveman themed. So you're a caveman, and you're driving around these eras of the world and of culture and of life. So, like, when I watched him play it, he went through Egypt, like ancient Egypt, he went through Atlantis and medieval England, and you're supposed to collect these arrowheads, and you have to complete the race collecting these arrowheads. You have to get all the arrowheads and be first place. But the physics in this game is absolutely wild. I wish I remembered the name of it, but if you search Pangea Studios or Pangea game, racing game or whatever, I'm sure you could find it. It's actually obscene, and going backwards is just as fast as going forwards. So I was watching him play. He was like zooming around. He would hit one bump, it would flip him around entirely 180, and then he would just start driving backwards, and he's going just as fast. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So anyway, I was open up to that door. And you know what? Yeah, I need to take the -1 for backlog off, because I don't think I have, and I deserve it, because that was effort I put into that game. That was effort.
So I have to ask you guys. I feel like we just got Shelly's. What is the most obscure game you've probably ever played?
Oh,
well,
I don't
maybe
know.
that at this point, but that was new as of this week. So
Yeah.
before
That's
that, though,
that's a tough one for me.
before that, I mean,
I've played a lot of games.
I feel like for me, not very obscure because I feel like I'm not, especially compared to you, OJ. I'm like, I don't think I've played as many games, but I think growing up, I did play some super niche games. I remember but they were always like brand connected for me. Like I used to play these computer games. I played like a Minnesota Cuke one, which VeggieTales. It's VeggieTales. I used to play a Brother Bear computer game, and I loved that. I still love that movie, so like that was part of it. And then also there was a Tarzan computer game, and there was a Littlest Pet Shop. There was a My Little Pony game that I played all the time, and your entire goal, I remember, was you're trying to help the pony ascend to become a Pegasus and fly off to heaven. And this was way before like Friendship is Magic. Like this is the old school My Little Pony. You were actually like raising a pony and trying to help it get to heaven. And I was really, really bad at games back then. I'm sure it was way easier. And then there's also like I think for me, like most niche games I think of like are always the really, really weird branded games. So that's what I would say. It was like just like in like Revenge of the Sith on Game Boy, SpongeBob games, like just really weird.
Yeah,
like, I guess at that point they're not actually niche because they're branded.
Definitely a lot of licensed stuff for me as well. Like
Actually, that reminds me too. There was
Mine's licensed.
I keep remembering other niche games that I played. I rediscovered the Powder Toy, which is a game I used to play all the time, just in middle school on the library computers. And this is like a visceral memory that I have, and this is a memory that other people have. Even if they didn't play the Powder Toy on the middle school computers, they know people who played Powder Toy on middle school computers. You have like this material, and you can create things with it, and you can blow things. I mostly liked blowing things up. If you look up the Powder Toy, I'm sure you can find it. But apparently, it's free on Steam Deck, and I got it. So
nice.
I was really excited about it because I had been looking to play this game for so long after so many years of not, and I finally found it. So that I think would have been the niche game, but it's like clearly it's not niche enough. Clearly, a lot of other people played it. So that's that.
I don't remember how I got mine, but it was M&M The Lost Formulas,
Oh my gosh.
which was a math game. For the PC.
I played a typing Star Wars game. That's sort of
That's
similar
awesome.
energy. Heck yeah. And a
I
Pokemon
remember.
one.
So you were in a car, and then
Uh-huh.
there would be like a sign. I'm looking up pictures and stuff. I don't remember
M&Ms,
this.
dude?
The sign would
What?
have like 1 + 2, and then you'd have to find. There'd be 3 different numbers on the street, and you had to like, use your keys to figure out which side to go on.
That's
And each number would
creative.
like speed you up.
Wow. M&M's, man. They cared about your education. I love that.
Yeah, it's so weird. I looked up M&M Racing, and I was like, I guess there was one for the 3DS, and I don't know what that's all about, but Lost
gosh.
Formulas. That was it.
Funny.
What about you, LJ?
I remember that in my, so I'm looking at screenshots. There was a game,
You're doing the research.
and well, I had to look because it was the one that popped into my head, and it's a game called the Journeyman Project, and it was on PC. And apparently there's like 4 of these, which I had no idea, but it was like an adventure game, almost like a text-based adventure. And it's just like had this weird still imagery, like FMV stuff. Yeah, it's called the Journeyman Project. It is so like, I only have memories of this game, but like there's definitely certain things you gotta, it's like an old text-based adventure thing. It was just so like, I remember, like, this is probably the most niche thing I've ever played, the most randomest thing I've ever played. Yeah, it definitely goes up there. Like, I feel like nobody's heard of this. Maybe, like, Joe is the only one I can think of that might have heard of this or something. But that's how, like, insane, like, we both are. Like,
There
I
was
don't know.
a game
what
when
it
I
is.
was in kindergarten, and I don't even know what I was supposed to do, what it was called, but you were running around a planet, and then you'd find a rocket, and then, like, the rocket wouldn't work. And I don't think I got any farther in that game, besides, like, I think I was supposed to go find the parts of the rocket. I could never get the rocket to work.
I truly think creativity in the video game space has been diminished. I think the most creative games were these weird niche games. I think they were the peak of game development.
I feel like I need to
Super
look at,
strange.
like, a video
Because, like,
of
what the
this.
heck were they thinking? Giving that to kids, too. I remember there was I had a Shamu game on Game Boy.
I remember playing a ROM of a Shamu game
Oh my gosh.
on GBA or something.
I had a Barbie game.
Shamu's Deep Sea Adventure or something.
Yes, I think that's what I had. I think that's what I played, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm Shamu.
Well, because it was like an Echo the Dolphin clone.
Yes.
Actually, Echo the Dolphin might be one of the more obscure ones, but I feel like more people know that game than...
I feel like it's becoming a bit of a cult classic. Like, people are like, oh yeah, Echo the Dolphin. Yeah. That's so funny.
We can move on. Shelly, what else have you been playing?
Sure, I'll keep it short, just because pretty much besides that, it really is just Baldur's Gate 3.
Like, what have I started?
Crazy that I think we're finally now in Act 2, and we're 60 hours into the game. Such a big game, and I know I complain about big games, but I play big games. I'm the problem. But what is kind of a bummer is that a lot of patches came out recently that fixed a lot of our issues. I think I might have talked about it even last time. How a lot of our glitches and weird things that were happening don't happen anymore, which is really great. But a new glitch is happening just all of a sudden, and it's actually really consistent. So anytime there's this mechanic in the game where if you are playing multiplayer, and this is the case for co-op, I'm sure it's the case for online as well. If someone else is having a conversation, you can listen in on that conversation. You can basically walk up to them and you press a button to be able to listen in. So, and we do that pretty often, especially in like bigger scenes. We want to because it takes it out of split screen and into the full screen. So, but then now every time we do that, it seems that's what is causing this to happen. My camera on the right side just breaks. So now it just, both cameras on the split screen follow my husband's character and they don't follow me. And thankfully the solution is fairly quick. I just need to disconnect and reconnect, but it's really annoying, and it just makes it so I can't like listen to all conversations, which again, it's not the end of the world. It's just like, man, why did all these glitches go away and now we got new glitches? It's kind of unfortunate, but we're still really enjoying it. We're definitely more invested because story stuff's actually happening now. I think it's like such a slow start. I mean, like, I did have fun in Act 1, don't get me wrong, but man, I'm like...
That game is a slow start.
It is a slow... Like, I don't like that it took, like, 50 hours for me to start really getting invested. I don't like that it took that long. I wish it was a little bit faster. And I know, obviously, like, if I progress the story faster, then the story would happen faster, and it's only because I'm running around making sure I do all the side quests or freaking not missing things, because everyone would judge me if I missed everything. Because it's Baldur's Gate 3, and that's like the whole thing, is I want to get everything. So I don't want to get judged, and I want to not miss those things.
I started that game 3 times, and I think that's partially why I got burned out on it. Like, not that I got burned out on it, but like, I started one with me and a buddy of mine. We started the one with the full party, and then I started one by myself. So it's like, by the time I started 3 times, I was just like, oh, like, I'm good right now. I'll come back to it. That game's big. Speaking of big games,
it's a lot, and again, it's still fun. It's getting better, and from what I've heard, it just gets better. Like, it doesn't stop getting better. Like, one of my friends has already said, like, oh yeah, this is my new game of the year kind of thing. And I'm like, okay. Like, I know it's gonna get better. I know I just need to be in for the long haul. I just wish some of these stupid glitches weren't a thing. Is all, because they just hinder the experience a lot. So that's what I've been playing.
Cool.
Nice.
We'll get into the gaming news then. Go ahead, LJ.
All right. We got some big stuff happening, which has not really been the case in the last few weeks. Like, I don't know, I just feel like gaming news has been kind of slow lately. But not right now. We have Microsoft has officially purchased Activision. So yeah, that's kind of the big thing. They've kind of got through all the court cases and stuff and everything they needed to do. It's like $1 billion deal. I forget how. It's easily one of the most biggest acquisitions.
I'm not kidding.
Let's see, $68.7 billion, and they now own franchises like Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Crash, and Spyro are up in there, and some other companies, or some other games like that are probably more obscure and older that we may never see. But yeah, like, it's official. Bobby Kotick, the infamous CEO of Activision, is going to stay on until 2020, until for the rest of the year, basically, and then that's it. Microsoft owns them. Modern Warfare 3 and Diablo 4 are apparently not coming to Game Pass right away, which I think is what people are expecting to happen right away. It's like, okay, cool, what are we getting now? I think it's going to be a while before we see that kind of stuff. So, I know that Sony has said for the next 10 years that Call of Duty is going to stay, so both Sony and Microsoft have agreed that Call of Duty is going to stay on multiple platforms for the next 10 years. I think there was even talks of Microsoft putting it on Switch, which was even weirder. Yeah, I guess if we want to get into big corporation battles and monopolies and all that stuff, like Microsoft has, there are 9 studios that work for Activision. You have a couple of them that are like COD support studios, or there's probably even more than that. There's like subsidiaries, because then there's a bunch of studios that are helping make Call of Duty. So who knows? Hopefully we haven't really heard anything about. We haven't heard much about like the work culture at Blizzard and stuff like that lately. A couple of studios have unionized in like before the Microsoft stuff was about to happen. So I guess we're just gonna have to see. I don't really know where this is gonna go. But good on Xbox. Like I guess it's one of those things where it's like, if you feel like you don't have the capacity to put out some of those hard-hitting exclusives like Sony does, I guess I don't know if their approach is like, we're going to buy some studios that can. Because now they have
that
Bethesda's.
seemed to be the plan like 5 years ago, that we just haven't gotten anything.
Yeah.
Starfield, finally, but...
Right.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it actually pans out at some point.
Yeah.
I think they've really got themselves in a position where they could really go against Sony as far as games go. I just don't see it yet, as far as the single-player world is concerned. And Activision's more known for the multiplayer anyways, but I don't know. Xbox has had some slow years, but I would assume that's because they have plans going forward to really knock it out of the park.
I feel like Starfield is the first game, I think, especially since the Bethesda acquisition, where it's like, ooh, should you really buy an Xbox for this exclusive thing? You know, like...
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, what the story is, and, like, Activision's a multi-platform company, or at least, so it's like, what do you do with that? Like, it'd be kind of crazy. Like, I know we have Crash and Spyro games on multiple platforms, but it's like, hey, like, if you want to take something that's going to compete with, like, Astrobot and some of other PlayStation's mascots, like, sure, you go with Crash and Spyro, I think. I think Call of Duty is a no-brainer because you already have... At least I don't know. I feel like I associate Call of Duty a lot with Xbox already anyway. So I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer. Even though I've played on PlayStation for a long time, but I just know there's so many Xbox players that are playing Call of Duty on it. I hope Overwatch gets a turnaround of some kind. Like, hopefully they help fix, the problems with Overwatch 2 and kind of... I kind of hope they help them fix... I hope they help fix a lot of, like, these, like, games of service kind of issues with a lot of Activision games, so... And they're making money probably constantly off of King, which is the mobile company that's making all the Candy Crush spin-offs. Like, I saw a thing of, like, how many IPs Microsoft actually owns now, and, like, there's a dozen of them that are basically just, like, spin-offs of Candy Crush. Like, yeah. So, that's wild. Yeah.
I believe it, though.
Yeah. So, we'll have to see what's going to happen with that. I think that more people are probably going to be more excited about is that Mario has a new voice actor.
Yeah.
Which, that was kind of like, it leaked for a while or something, and then they thought it was somebody else.
Then it's like they put out the trailer for Wonder, and people were like,
that's a different voice.
That sounds like a different voice. Yeah, and then they officially were like, okay, Charles Martin is not doing this anymore. He's our Mario ambassador, and so it kind of makes sense that now.
Yeah, and so the new voice his name is Kevin Afghani, and who's I guess he's done some like anime stuff, some like small like roles for Genshin. I think is his biggest role right now. But he seems like one of those actors that does like a bunch of like anime related stuff, which is cool. I think it's cool to choose a no namer who's not really like but just off of this role alone. If he keeps voicing, I think he voices Mario. It's Mario and Luigi for sure.
Yeah.
And I think maybe another character or two.
He's young enough that he'll have, a 50-year career.
He's going to have this role for a very long time.
Be the next Charles Martinet.
I mean, he's got it. We've heard the voice.
It sounds close. And I thought that was interesting because part of me was like, maybe Charles Martinet didn't voice Mario in the movie.
It's like, so are you doing an impression now?
Yeah,
right.
I was like, maybe that's why they're getting another voice. Maybe it'll sound more like Chris Pratt's Mario. It's weird to me that the new voice doesn't sound more like Chris Pratt's Mario in the movie, so you couldn't connect those a little bit.
Right.
That just seemed like a strange option to me. But that said, I prefer this, honestly. Like, I'd rather Mario sound like Mario and not like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, it's crazy to me how Mario is literally just so iconic that this is a really big deal. But Mario also still just like barely talks or makes noises. Like, what I mean? Like, voice actors for other games have to work way hard. I'm thinking like Persona games especially.
Oh,
they have to be so talented. And they are. I love all the voice actors for pretty much all the Persona games that I played, but it's just a different like caliber where it's like those are just niche games. They're just not popular voice just games that are voiced all the way through like that. Mario's still just bigger and better than all of them. Everyone plays Mario. Everyone recognizes that.
Let's go, wahoo, oh no, and wah.
And you gotta
10
nail
times.
it though.
And he's probably got 10 recordings of like different variations of those lines, and he's good for the decade.
Yeah. Seems like I think about like Final Fantasy 16 going to PAX and going to the sort of seminar that they had with all the voice actors. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you guys are so talented. You're so cool. But they're not Mario. Okay, Ben Starr still isn't Mario.
They've definitely
It's
had
just
longer
Clyde,
scripts
people
than
don't like that game.
They've definitely had longer scripts than
Yes.
Charles Martinet has ever had.
It's a different sort of side of voice acting. And now that I think about it, I mean, Charles Martinet, I think he did do a lot of voice acting, other voice acting. He had quite the range because he was Parthrax, I think, right, in Skyrim.
Yeah.
So, and he did other roles too. It's just like crazy to me. It's like Mario's such a high, what's the word?
High
Just
profile?
High profile, yeah. It's just so high profile that it doesn't even matter if he doesn't say much. He has to nail it, and people recognize it, and all of a sudden it's on you if he sounds bad.
Oh my gosh.
Which is why everyone drug Chris Pratt through the mud.
Like, in having met Charles Martinet too, like at the convention I went to a few months ago,
yeah.
just I feel, and he just turns that voice on like a light switch, no matter, like, it's just like, wow. Like,
Mario lives in him, actually. There's
yes.
like a little part of his vocal cords that
him
Mario.
saying different words in the Mario voice was just like, I was like, wow.
The only thing I can think of that's anything close to that is Mark Hamill's Joker.
True. Yeah.
Like, anytime you hear an animated Joker that's not Mark Hamill, you kind of go, huh? What?
Totally. There's some voices that are just so iconic.
Iconic, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So iconic. I agree.
There's even people that do a really good job, and you're like, well, that's not quite right with the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so that's it for gaming news.
Cool. Well, we will get into the movies then. LJ, you watched a few movies. You watched more on brand movies than I did, so we'll start with you. Not on brand, but on
that's
on
the
theme.
Time.
October.
It's the time of the year.
Theme.
I got it.
Not on brand. That was weird.
I know what you meant. Thematic, I guess.
On theme.
Yeah. So I watched a few weeks ago. I watched Sleepy Hollow, which was one that I'd been wanting to rewatch. Like, I was waiting for it to go on sale, and then I think it even showed up.
Podcast.
I think it even showed up on like a streaming service. But I bought it anyway. I was like, I want this movie. I know, like, it's probably not going to last long on a streaming service. So it was fun rewatching that because I hadn't seen it in years. It's a Tim Burton movie. And it kind of holds. I mean, it's still kind of a cool movie, but it's also like weird to watch because I forget how like set piecey I guess like Tim Burton's movies are. So that also kind of like threw me off a little bit. Like you can like, but I also kind of like that because I'm like, okay, it's a movie, it's cinema. It doesn't have to be like like on location or in this filmed in this particular spot, whatever. Like,
yeah.
There are definitely shots that feel like, okay, that might be a model or something, or that might be this. But I still liked it. It was fun. It was. I kind of have it in my head that like Johnny Depp is like Jack Sparrow most of the time now. Like that's just Johnny Depp, and so it was fun to see him play a role again that I haven't. Like I just feel like I haven't seen him play another character in a long time, other than in Jack Sparrow. Like, so. It was nice. It was a fun watch. It was less spooky and it was more just like the vibes. I'm like, I want to start off just with the vibes, and so it was fun. It was a good watch. Then the other one, I was in a debate with myself the other day. I was gonna watch 3 different ones. I was gonna watch like a real horror movie, and then I was gonna watch. I was like, ooh, I should do a fun, goofy movie because I just played Friday the 13th with the Infinity Bros on Friday the 13th the other day. So I was like, ooh, I'm kind of like feeling the slasher mode. And then there was another movie I wanted to watch, and so I was like, whatever, I'm gonna go with the slasher movie just because it's stupid, dumb fun. So I watched Freddy vs. Jason because I'm also like,
nice.
I'm like, this is the first like before the MCU, before there was really cinematic universes.
Yeah.
We had Freddy vs. Jason.
There was Aliens vs Predator. I was really excited about that.
True. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's another
that movie
one.
wasn't good, but I was so excited.
Yeah, I mean, Freddy vs. Jason isn't really that good either. But I mean, those horror movies are so meant to be campy and stupid.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I thought the plot was fun because for basically, so that way people can remember him again. Freddy Krueger tricks Jason into resurrecting. And basically going to Elm Street and start killing, and then having people think that Freddy is doing it again. And so he regains his power through that. I'm spoiling, I guess, a movie that not a lot of people
it's very old
watch in our audience.
You get a lot of backstory for Jason too.
Yeah, you get a lot of backstory for both of them, which I also really feel like was nice. Because then Jason's like, I don't care, I'm just gonna kill people, and then something happens to where Jason accidentally gets a kill from Freddy, and then he's like, and then Freddy gets mad, and so he's like, oh, like I gotta stop this dude because he's stealing my thunder, so I'm gonna go fight him. And so I was just like,
so
it's so dumb, but I was like, you know what, this is actually kind of fat, like it's kind of like creative, like it's,
yeah.
I was like, I kind of appreciate the effort that was gone into this because I don't have to watch Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street to even know what's going on. Like I got the whole.
I remember him being knocked out in the van to try to get him to wake up.
Yes. Yeah, it's so it was fun. Like,
People who don't watch horror movies have no idea what we're talking about.
I mean, even if you don't, you probably know who Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees are. Like like it's.
I think this has to be said for some context. Freddy Krueger kills in your dreams. Is his whole thing.
Yes.
So, Jason had to be like asleep for him to fight. It's so silly.
Well, yeah. Then there's this whole thing about how they pull Freddy into like the real world and stuff, and I love the like end fight scene. Somehow Freddy gets a hold of Jason's machete, and then Jason basically has Freddy's arm with like his claw hand on it. So like they end up like stabbing each other. Like with their own weapons, it's just so like, oh, I love it. It was so, and
super
yes,
campy.
These movies are rated R. They're bloody.
Very rated
stuff.
R. For those wondering.
Yes, nudity, like all that stuff. But it was just like dumb fun. Like I watched that movie when I was probably too young. I was definitely too young to be watching it. I think
we all did.
I somehow saw it in theaters back in the day, and so.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was just fun. Like it was just, I don't know. It was just silly. It reminded me of. I don't know, just different times, so it was fun. It was a fun watch. The other movie I might watch next week, I was going to watch, is Werewolves Within. I've been wanting to watch that movie because it came out a few years ago and I heard it was good. But this was like total fun, dumb campiness that I was looking for. So I was happy. So that's what I watched.
Cool. I finally, not very horror-esque, watched Everything Everywhere.
Ooh,
all at
what'd you
once.
what'd you think?
Nobody prepared me.
Yes,
I feel like I'm the only one that's saying this. That is an emotional movie, people.
It is. It is.
Nobody said
It
anything
goes,
about it.
Like, it goes so many directions. That movie.
Everyone was like, yeah, it's real wild. It's like, it does Dimensions really good.
So good.
Nobody talks about how emotional it is.
It's man, it's
Yeah, people
wild.
always talk about how crazy it is.
But
Yeah.
it's real heavy. Like it is.
Yeah, okay, this is too. So me and my wife were having a rough day, and we're like, we need to just relax and watch a movie.
Oh,
Let's
no!
watch this super deep movie.
It gets super deep. Like, oh my gosh.
Good.
No, but
So,
yeah,
It's a little old now. It's a year old, couple years old.
a couple years.
like that.
I watched it, and I was the only one in a theater on like a Sunday night or something watching that movie, and I just like in my theater by myself going, "What did I just watch?
Yeah.
Like, what am I watching right now?"
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
really good movie. It's an A. Is it A24?
Yes, it's an A24 movie.
believe so.
Ooh.
But in a good way. I
In a
like
good
this
way.
one. So now I have something to fight against the Green Knight.
my
But
gosh.
no, I watched Loki, and Loki obviously has what's his name?
Oh,
I'm gonna look it up.
you don't want to butcher it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to. Wow. Hu Kwan. He plays
Short Round in
Waymond.
Indiana Jones.
I didn't realize his name was Waymond with a W. That's awesome.
Oh my.
That's
funny.
I didn't. They did that on purpose.
They did.
But no, he's in Loki, and he's doing an amazing job in Loki.
That's
He's so funny. And so I was like, we still haven't seen that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So we should check it out. And be prepared. It is an emotional ride, and there's a lot of like introspective thinking that you'll be doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But also, I stick with everyone else that's saying that, like, how did Doctor Strange 2 come out in the same year as this movie? Like, that movie should have come out, and they should have canceled Doctor Strange 2 and be like, we need to redo this. Like,
Yeah.
it's so good. The budget's it's not like it's got a huge budget or anything, or it doesn't look hugely budgeted. It's just well written. My only thing, and I still think even with this one, you could have had more. I could have had more dimensions. I could have had more universes. I'm just never satisfied. When you can have any universe ever, I'm like, I don't know. You could have got even more creative than hot dog fingers, I think. But hot dog fingers were a weird one.
They definitely get weird. They get really good though too, I think.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting with this is that it's all these different universes, but they kind of they try to stay kind of grounded in what was possible in the universes, and so it's like people didn't just like randomly have superpowers because you couldn't explain that through the universes are created through choices, and so you couldn't create like superpowers through choices necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like the hot dog fingers had to do with like a evolutionary change that happened because of someone's choice. Craziness. They had their own weird rules to it all, but I don't know. It was a thing.
It's just it's crazy.
Don't watch that movie on a bad day.
Yeah.
Especially if you having like any kind of anxiety.
Oh, that makes me sad because like I have I have memories attached to that movie. And like I found out the movie theater right by my house the other day. I found out that it's closing, so I'm like, oh, like those memories I have like with Everything Everywhere All at Once and like other stuff. I'm like, dang. Like,
It starts off so anxious.
Mm-hmm.
But good. I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's been warned. Finally, nobody told me.
That's a movie. It's just like you don't like people don't spoil just because of how bonkers it is. Like it's just like.
Yeah, sorry if the hot dog fingers was too much, but
No. That's one of the things I think. It's like they, people caught window, but it's just like,
yeah.
it's
Tip
much
of the iceberg for that
it's
movie for sure.
Yes, it's much deeper than that. I guess
Yeah.
it's wild.
It just makes you think. I don't know. It's not a
my-
lot of movies.
my
make
brain
me think
just went-
anymore.
Like, what did I watch?
Yeah. So good. We get into the movie news then, though. Shelly, you hadn't seen any movies this week?
Nope. Well, I watched Coraline. I watch it every year. I don't have anything more to say about it except it's a really good movie and still one of my favorites. Like, it's just so good. So, if you haven't seen Coraline, go watch Coraline, please. Okay. Especially because Halloween season. So.
Yeah.
So for movie news, a bit of an update from the director for the Borderlands movie. Did anyone else remember that there was a Borderlands movie? Because I didn't.
I totally forgot. I was really excited about it for a little while.
They definitely delayed it.
And I mean, obviously everything got delayed too, but basically, supposedly they're aiming for August 9th, 2024. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, like, their whole thing is that they want to retain the humor and familiar qualities. Source material, of course. And now I'm remembering too, as like I'm looking through this. That's right. It's Jack Black's in it. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Those were the
Kevin
two names
Hart.
where I was like, oh man, like,
Yeah.
that's really cool. So
Jack Black is playing Claptrap.
yeah.
Kevin Hart's playing this soldier dude who's like a big bulky dude in the game. And just like, I think it's okay that, I don't know, like, I'm just like, let them do their own thing too, hopefully. Like, as long as they retain the humor and the silliness that
Kate
Borderlands is
Blanchett
all
as
about.
well. Yeah, I kind of
She's
forgot all
playing
these big
Lilith
names.
too,
Yeah.
which is interesting also. Like, so it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
knowing the characters that they play, I'm like, okay, we'll see what they do with this.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I wonder when they're going to, like, really, like, kind of really announce it. Because I feel like the only reason we even heard of it is because we've been following along. Like, there's no trailers, there's no teasers, so...
They haven't, yeah.
So I'm curious to see, especially if it's supposed to be out next year. Less than a year at this point.
Mhm.
That's, they gotta get going. You know? I would
Yeah.
think they gotta start kind of pushing that out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. Everything else has been so delayed, and that maybe, I don't know. If they think they could do it by August, that's awesome. Power to them. I don't know if they can.
I mean, the last time I think, or one of the big things, like, I think they showed, like, some set stuff. Last time Gearbox had a showcase around, like, one of the E3s or something. So I'm like, it's been a while. They've definitely. Yeah. So I'm just looking for. I just want to see the trailer now. Like Yeah.
I think we need to see it. I think it'd be really super funny if they did the art style Borderlands and how a lot of folks are able to, like, in their cosplays and stuff, sort of mimic that with the really thick, like, black around them.
That would be
That'd be
amazing
crazy
if they did like a
did
weird
that.
live action cell shading kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be
nuts.
cool.
I don't
That'd be kinda dope.
anticipate they would, but I think it'd be really cool if they did.
That would be kind of cool.
That would have been awesome. We've seen it in, like, cosplays and stuff.
Mhm.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's like, it's possible. It's actually, like, not, as long as you know what you're doing, not that difficult. And then you could throw CGI or something.
That would be
too.
interesting. Yeah.
I assume they're not going to do that, but we'll see. That'd be really cool if they did. So, anyway, that's the update on the Borderlands movie. Besides that, we're getting some sort of, like, rumors that Kevin Feige is kind of not, like, outwardly supporting, but, like, low-key supporting, about Secret Wars Avengers. Secret Wars sort of being a bit of a...
Loki. Marvel.
Yeah. Anyway, that Avengers
Walked
Secret
into that
War,
one.
I know, is gonna be kind of like a soft reboot for Marvel. Like, they'll bring back, like, they'll kind of, like, maybe bring back some old characters, maybe different actors, stuff like that. It'll be kind of like a reboot. So, which is like, I don't know.
I'm like, wasn't that what, like, Endgame? Wasn't that what, like, the next phase after Endgame was supposed to be anyway? Like, I'm like,
Yeah, kind of was shifting.
No, I just, like...
It sounds to me like they'll have old characters come back with different actors, and that they'll kind of, like, it'll be a new universe when
that
we get
would
back
be
from it.
weird.
Most exciting is they're talking about doing, like, a bit of a break, and we probably could use a bit of a break from Marvel.
I think a break would be Wonderful. I think that little
some-
break that we had before the show started coming out was awesome.
I think
we should do that more.
Need a couple years and then just come back strong would be cool.
this comes in the wake, I think, of, like, did y'all hear about, like, the Daredevil stuff? Like, how I guess they scrapped, like, a good chunk of it or something? Or they're, like,
All of it.
scrapped...
They fired the showrunners.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I think they only
So-
had, like, a few more episodes left to film, so now I'm just like, what? Like,
So they're going to redo all of it. It's pretty crazy.
yeah. So there's just so much, I don't know, there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, that's...
I'd rather, as much as I want Daredevil to happen, I would rather them kind of reboot things and take
Have
their
them fix
time
it,
and like
yeah.
take some breaks and like instead of trying to like the Mouse House is just really good at like cranking stuff out algorithmically and just like making us watch things that aren't necessarily good because we just want something. I would rather quality content, and I feel like Feige is
Same.
trying to do that.
Yeah. I think the thing that makes me nervous is that they hopefully are learning their lesson with a lot of their unsuccess happening right now. Like, why?
The Jonathan Majors thing is definitely, makes
that's
things
right.
interesting, too.
Yeah, but I just think,
So-
like, they're... Something that made them so popular in the first place was not just the novel at the time concept of having all these movies sort of interconnected and then coming together into Avengers movies. The humor at the time also really was working, and they still kind of have some of that, at this point, a bit outdated humor in a lot of their projects. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they're going to need to figure out what makes Marvel good that isn't what that made Marvel good, right? Like, they can't just keep relying on what made Marvel popular, at least MCU, I guess, is what I should specify, because Marvel's way bigger than
Look
that.
at Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah. And that worked really well.
Story.
So I think taking those lessons is going to be important, because basically, long story short, I'm worried that they're just going to make a bunch of bad projects again, because they're going to keep trying to mimic stuff that used to work, like, a long time ago. I don't know if they would do that. I don't know. It's just, it kind of reminds me of, like, what DC is trying to do, and what DC is at this point kind of doing well, in the sense of like the Batman, right? The Batman is not really part of a universe, at least at this point. I'm sure it will be. You know, that's what they do. But it was very different and more serious. And it's not like they have to be more serious. Marvel as a concept is pretty humorous, but they need to take a bit of a step away from what they've done and make something new if they're going to try to reboot things. And I think they have the power to do it. Do they have the creativity? Do they have the patience? Who knows? I don't. But I would hope they do. Because then you can have cool
I think there's
stories
definitely
with,
lessons
like,
to
heroes
be
that
learned
we've had.
from older stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we could have cool stories of heroes that we've had, but they haven't been able to explore because they got killed off or whatever.
Like, the last Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was really good. But whenever I think of, like, peak Marvel, I guess, it would be Winter Soldier. Like, the storytelling of Winter Soldier was
super
done
good.
so well. And then I feel like ever since then, they've just kind of, like, gone off of what's exciting and not, like, the storytelling part of it.
I feel like
Totally.
Secret Invasion also kind of has me a little nervous, too, because I'm like, why, like, what was this for? You know, like...
Yeah, like Secret Invasion could have been a Winter Soldier, like, esque thing where the story is, like, really, really good and, like, we were really invested, and they really just kind of wrote a check and called it good.
Yeah. Like,
Um,
I'm nervous about, like, the Marvels, too. Like, I mean, I'm sure that'll be
Yes.
fine, but I'm just like...
Right, that's another one.
I'm nervous to even start Loki. Like, I think Loki's, like, 2 episodes in. I'm just like, do I start this? That's where I'm at
think-
right now.
Black Panther had a message to tell. A lot of MCU movies don't have a message really to tell that's important anymore.
I agree.
Guardians was good. I had a lot of fun. Volume 3.
What was the point of Eternals?
Yeah, Guardians of the
right?
Galaxy was... Yeah, Eternals was
Like,
kind of...
was there any
It was just a movie.
message to take? And not, I mean, I guess not literally every single movie has a message that needs to be taken away, but I think it definitely gives you an impact. You remember it. Like, oh, I got.
Yeah.
I
There has to be
these
something to be
feelings
taken
from
away.
this.
If not a message, like, it needs to be,
Like
you know...
something.
It
Literally
can't
something.
just be... Yeah, there's got to be
Yeah.
something that you walk away from and go, oh, that story was really good.
Yes,
Like,
I agree.
Yeah. The Eternals, you're like, that was just another Marvel movie.
Yes, I totally agree.
I hate to say, because I really like Shang-Chi, but even then, like, even in their better movies, there's really not
Yeah.
much there.
True.
Where I think, like, I'm going to go back to Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier's storytelling was, like, they made Captain America interesting, and that's very difficult to do. And so, yeah, they just really need to. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I think, goes into that. Like,
Yep, there was
Well, they
nothing
disconnected.
that they tried to connect to hardcore with it, and then just like, oh,
yeah,
well, let
it
be
was
a
all
movie.
about the story being told. And I think about DC, too. I think if DC is going to succeed, it needs to be more than just a superhero movie. It's got to be telling a story well.
Mm-hmm.
Or doing something cinematically different. I'd actually say WandaVision was really good because it was, like,
Yeah.
so artistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they waited till like the last episode to get super MCU-ish. You know?
Yeah, I know a lot of
It's
people didn't like that show,
This is
but
a story about a very, very powerful woman dealing with grief. And when you're very, very powerful, you deal with grief a little differently, or you have the ability to. So there's something to take away from that, too. Loki, I haven't started season 2, but at least season 1 has so much character development for Loki
Season
as a
1 was
character.
really good too.
That I feel like that in itself was a bit of a takeaway, and him fighting other versions of himself and having to kind of like deal with that, figure out what that means. I think there's a takeaway from that too. But there's some of the
Loki
movies
2's good,
shows.
guys.
I think about like Hawkeye, and it was like fun little Christmas thing. But what was the takeaway of that for me? I literally can't think.
That's a good point. It was very just MCU fun ride, kind of a
Which,
thing.
and has its own merit, I suppose. But again, I think the ones that we remember, which I think is the ones you would want to prioritize and how you'd want to aim to have your movies and shows, are the ones that leave some sort of impact like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about Doctor Strange 2 earlier. If that had been this, like, crazy, cerebral, like, make you kind of, like it should have been Inception weird.
It should have,
And it wasn't. It was just another MCU movie. And it could have been so, like, bonkers. And that wouldn't have had a message, necessarily. It would have just been like, what did I just watch? I can't believe that was an MCU movie. And instead it was like, no, that was definitely a Marvel movie.
It just had more blood than normal.
Yeah. We can move on.
Yeah.
Hopefully they learn. Cool. We will get into TV then. TV we've been watching. I'll talk a little bit about Loki. I don't want to give a lot away. As I said, the actor from Everything Everywhere All at Once is in it, and I think that's been really great. You can definitely see, I don't remember their names or the person's name, but there's a writer from Rick and Morty that has been working on Loki, and that fingerprint is definitely there in this season, in a good way. It's really kind of cool to see Rick and Morty kind of like... There's Rick and Morty humor, but it's not like the vulgar humor that you're used to. It's just that, like, Rick and Morty humor can be so smart sometimes.
Yes.
And that is translated.
It feels like it's on brand for that writer.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like inappropriate humor. It's just like really well written humor. So I'm really, really appreciating that. The first episode was a lot of plot, a lot of going on. I know that IGN really didn't give it a lot of love, but I thought it was great. I think it set up a lot of things that hopefully pay out. We'll have to see. While also like making you kind of suspenseful the whole time. There were mysteries that were happening, things that they were going to figure out throughout the season. Some reveals that I was like, oh, what does that mean? Excited for that. Episode 2, less of that and more of just like, hey, remember that you like Loki? Just in case you forgot. And so it's just all like Loki being like all the things that make Loki cool to people, or attractive to people. He literally has this scene where he's just walking, and he's walking with such swagger, it's ridiculous. And I'm like, we get it, okay.
That's funny.
But that was really cool. And Shelly, you brought up the character development that you got from season 1. I think that's really showcased in episode 2 of Loki.
That's good.
And they're like, this is how far he's come. he's kind of reminded of who he was, and they also, pick at him a little bit and say that, what stuff he still needs to work on. Yeah, I'm loving the show. I really like Loki. It's so weird that it is Loki, I guess. Like, Loki and time travel is such a... And now dimensions was such a weird thing to do, but... I mean, I guess it's a comic book series, right?
And I think this is the second season they've done of a show, right? I mean, at least for, like, the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think it's all been, like, one-time things until now.
Yeah. I was trying to think this is the only one. But
Crazy.
I think it's good. I know not everyone's giving it as much love as I am, but I really like season 1.
I'll check it out. Like, I really need to.
Yeah, it's cool.
I've been nervous.
The other thing is I finished Ahsoka. I don't think I finished Ahsoka
nice.
last time we talked. It does not end the way that people are like going to be excited about, is what I'll say. And that we kind of saw that coming.
I was going to say, hopefully this isn't a spoiler. I haven't watched the show, but I'd heard that they're making a movie of some kind.
Yes.
So, I guess that checks out.
So everything, if you thought that you're going to get this conclusive season that felt like
oh gosh,
like an ending, you're not going to get it. And also, Ray Stevenson, is that his name? Balin Skoll.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to happen. But Balin Skoll is become my favorite character in Star Wars. 100%. And so for the actor to have passed away and then for him to end, and it's clearly they had plans for him. And I hope that they actually continue the character. I don't know how he felt about being replaced. But I hope that he was okay with it and that they're going to go forward with his story. But it just has such an unsatisfying end, and it's even less so because he had passed away before that last episode was finished. And so it gets a cool moment. Definitely, I'm sure that he's proud of it being one of the last moments he was on screen. The last moment he was on screen. It's a cool moment for the character and for the actor, but it left you wanting so much more. They just set up this really intriguing story for him, and it never got completed. So I hope they're able to do so and not just leave it where they did. But I liked Ahsoka. I've seen a lot of hate for it, but I think for me it's Andor, and then Ahsoka is my number 2 for shows.
Nice.
My wife says Ahsoka is her favorite one. She liked the just how fantastical it is. It's very fantasy driven.
Sweet.
Which we kind of needed. We've gotten a lot of westerns, and Andor was more grounded. So this one is very Lord of the Rings,
nice.
Narnia feeling. It was really cool. But that's the shows that I've been watching. Shelly, what have you been watching?
Not much, but I did start Horimiya Season 2 with Daniel. We've only watched a handful of episodes. It's not a direct sequel per se to Horimiya Season 1. It's kind of like an in-between quill. It basically is showing off. It's Horimiya Season 1 was pretty streamlined. It showed off different characters, but the timeline was fairly consistent. But Season 2, the timeline is not very consistent. It kind of jumps into different parts of their relationship and things that basically fit into Season 1. I'm sure someone has already watched all of Season 2 and has found where each episode would be in the sort of timeline. And maybe there are some that kind of take place a little bit after Season 1, but I feel like Season 1 ended pretty conclusively. So, which I think is cool. I'm a fan of the we're just getting more. We're kind of just getting more of what we got in Season 1, and that's fine with me because it's new. It's still kind of original stuff, and it's still talking about the character development, but you can kind of there's different ways you can gauge kind of what the timing frame is in Season 1, sort of depending on how the characters interact with each other, which I think is pretty cool. But it's still just good and cheesy and nice. I mean, it's not that cheesy. It's kind of cheesy. It's just a soft romance slice of life. It's just pure slice of life. There's no stakes. right? Like, they're just high schoolers. They're self-conscious. They want to succeed. They have hopes and dreams. They like relationships. Like, it's just... I don't get to watch a lot of, like, pure slice of life stuff. So this is, like, definitely my favorite of that genre. I mean, Kaguya-sama, Love is War, I guess is a slice of life. So I guess that would still kind of be my favorite but it's like so comedic, whereas this is very much like the wholesome sort of side of like slice of life of they're just kind of going about their day and they're having these interactions and they're really cute most of the time. And yeah, just very sweet so far. Who knows? Maybe end of season 2 things go crazy, but no, I don't think so.
What about you, LJ? What have you been watching?
I've been keeping with the theme a little bit, and it's more of just to like balance, the stuff I'm watching, because there was a year where like I felt like I wasn't sleeping right because I watched so much like spooky stuff one October, so I was like, I'm gonna balance this out right, because I don't want that to happen again. So I started watching the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy again.
Oh my
which
gosh!
Is from back in the day. Oh my gosh, it is just
so good.
It is so good. I'm just like, man, like, and it's one of those shows I hadn't seen in so long. But every time there's an episode that comes on, that I'm like, oh, I remember this. Like, it's just like, it brings back a feeling of nostalgia again. Like, but I'm just like, oh man, when like just being a kid, not having to worry about a bunch of the stuff I have to worry about now, like.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so good. There's some episodes that I'm like, oh, I remember this one. I really like it. Like, this is, it was nice just to watch again, and just, it's one of those shows, like, I remembered watching for a long time, but I didn't remember, like, a lot of the episodes, and it's just one of those shows I put on, like, I maybe watch one or two and then go to bed or whatever, like, even if I'm not quite ready to go to sleep yet, I just, lay down and watch a few, and it's been one of those shows that's just been nice to end the day with. Just something silly and dumb I can turn my brain off. And one of my favorite episodes is the one where they meet Haas Delgado, which is like a knockoff of like Ash and like Snake Plissken from like Evil Dead and Escape from New York and stuff like that. Like, and he's got like so that's like a silly horror based character. And then there's one I watched last night. Was when Billy gets into Grimm's bag and he accidentally sits on this egg, and out comes like this giant spider he names Jeff, and he's like super scared of it, but the spider's like super nice. And it's so random. I love it though. It was good to go back to. So I figured it was like, Courage the Cowardly Dog is like a good show too, but I figured that's like a little more spookier and a little bit more psychotic than like the Grim Adventures, so I'm just like, I'm gonna go with Billy and Mandy. So, yeah, it's been fun to relive that show. So,
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into the TV news. We got a couple things. One of them, I think, LJ, you're pretty excited about.
Yeah.
Is Gargoyles being turned into a live-action TV show.
There were rumors of this happening, and I think it sounds like it's becoming more of a
so it'll be on Disney Plus. We've got Gary Doberman, who has done The Nun, which is in the Conjuring universe, James Wan's Conjuring universe. He also was a co-writer for It, which was really good. Also rated R, I think. Was it rated R or PG-13?
Which one?
The new one.
Oh, I don't know.
Not It 2, but...
Just the new movies in general. I have no idea.
Yeah. It might have been, I would say rated R. It was pretty dark.
Yeah.
But had a Stranger Things feel to it. It was really good.
Yes.
Literally had a Stranger Things actor in it. I heard the second one wasn't good. I never watched it.
I never watched the second one either, but I did like Chapter 1. Chapter 1 was good.
Yeah, Chapter 1 was great. So really interesting that they have these, like, I mean, those are hardcore horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
James Wan, obviously known for his horror, and Aquaman for some reason. I will never understand that. It's so random.
Yeah.
But he'll be working with James Wan's Atomic Monster, which I believe is James Wan's production company, to make Gargoyles. Gargoyles, as an animated show, wasn't all that scary. It was just very kind of gothic.
Yeah.
It felt very much like Batman in a lot of ways
when
you were watching it. A lot of, like, even the coloring of the skies and stuff, if I remember correctly. It's been so long.
Yeah, even the intro where he's like doing the roar thing and breaking out of his, just reminds me of that like in the Batman intro.
100%.
I think they could put such a cool like, not that it needs to be like rated R because of who's working on it, but I think if they like Moon Knight, I think of like Moon Knight and stuff, how that was like definitely like not like or not like rated R necessarily, but they still had a dark tone to that show. I feel like if you get the cinematography and like the style of the show you want out of this, you could get something really cool and definitely, yes, Batman-esque, I think. The whole plot is that basically of the original show is that the Gargoyles are like resurrected after being like stuck in stone for so many years, and so they wake up in
like decorative statues up on buildings.
Modern day New
Only
York.
come out at night.
Yeah, I think they get purchased by some big like billionaire kind of guy too. Is part of that plot, but so they end up in modern times, and so it's them like basically adapting to our world and all kinds of stuff like that. I think if they get that dark gothic tone down right, I think it would be really cool. And if they do add some kind of like horror-ish elements, or just at least get that vibe down, I think this will be cool.
I kind of like, it's been a newer thing over the last, I guess, decade, where they, probably a little bit longer than that, where they've turned like horror aspects into villains. And so it'll be, I think Supernatural kind of really brought that to light. So they would do like, Supernatural originally were these like horror tropes, but then they were just the bad guys. And so you could definitely do that, I think, with Gargoyles and have these kind of very like supernatural, almost horror-esque elements. But then the Gargoyles are going after them.
Yeah,
and yeah, that gothic tone could be really cool.
There's definitely a lot more to it.
Constantine, another example.
Yeah, so there's definitely like, it's been a while since I've seen the show, but there's there's definitely kind of a twist of who they think is their ally, it turns out to be the villain, kind of a thing. So it's kind of them like realizing what's good and what's bad and stuff like that, and I just think it'd be so good. You definitely have to get Keith David to reprise his role as Goliath, since he's still alive and kicking. I think you need to get him to reprise his role. But then they can kind of figure out what they want to do with the other guys. They have a dog in it named Bronx, like a gargoyle dog. I have a collectible, a NECA collectible I got that sits on my desk. Because like I'm obsessed. Awesome. So I was like, I have this right here. Like, I'm just like, so man. Cool. Yeah, so I hope it becomes a thing. Gargoyles is super niche, super niche from back in the day. They're remastering I think it comes out this week, but a Sega Genesis video game that they're giving like a cel-shaded style from the show to the game. So I'm like, I hope fans like come out of hiding and be like, hey, we want more of this. Like, let's do it. Like, find a way to bring it to a new audience is my pitch for it. So get people to go back and watch that old show. So yeah, that's my kind of geeking out. Like, that's where I got to go off a little bit. Then I'm happy about it. So
yeah, no, totally. Yeah. The other thing is a thing. We have a trailer for Dragon Ball Daima, which is like Dragon Ball had to do with like Kid Goku, and then you had Dragon Ball GT had Kid Goku. And so now Dragon Ball Daima, they're all kids, but they're not really kids. They're more like babies, like toddlers in this. He almost looks like he's wearing a diaper.
It's weird, because it looks, from what I've seen, it definitely looks like their style looks a little bit older to me than Kid Goku, kind of. Like, or just, it's a different art style, like, than Kid Goku originally was. So,
you think he looks like he's more grown up?
Oh, not I don't know. From what I've seen, because they haven't showed very much, like the art style to me looks like they're going to be a little bit older, but like I don't know how much older, because Goku was pretty small in Dragon Ball, and then even in GT, and it sounds like the plot is just going to be, a wish is granted to make them all kids again, which was the plot of GT. Yeah. So I don't know. At least from what I saw, they looked a little bit older than like babies, but then I had to laugh at one of the TikToks I saw, because they literally played the old Muppet Babies theme song with the trailer, and I'm like, yeah, like y'all aren't wrong on that one. So,
I just thought about this. We haven't had a teenage. Yeah, he's literally wearing a diaper in one of them.
Oh, that's
I don't
funny.
understand.
Oh.
We never got a teenage Goku. That would have been cool.
So I think Goku was probably teenage age when he first met Piccolo. I think he was still a young adult.
Okay.
Because that's when he fought the Demon King Piccolo. He was still pretty young, and then he had just had Gohan like in Dragon Ball Z, like when like Raditz came around. You know, Gohan was still pretty young too. So I think probably Demon King, his fight with Demon King Piccolo would probably be close. I think would be around his teen years. I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't
And
know.
that's like
There's
that's
not
like
a lot
end
of
of
like
Dragon Ball too. So
dialogue.
It's just,
There's just some music. Yeah, he's like, your wish is granted. They turn into babies, and then you just see clips.
yep.
Who they're
needs
fighting
this?
like adults.
Who asked for
Those-
this?
Yeah, I don't understand. I actually, you said like, don't Teen Titans Go it.
Yeah.
I think
That's gonna happen.
I almost rather that, not
Yeah.
because I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna watch it. But because we already have Dragon Ball Super, so like, why make them look like kids and then just make another show that's Dragon Ball Super but with children? Like,
And it's weird.
that-
They're not even gonna have their transformations. It sounds like Goku's gonna use his old power pole thing, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, it's weird. Teenagers would be cool. Give me like Trunks age, like 17-year-old. That would be neat. Angsty teenage Goku, or just have given me more. I don't know. I just like Gotenks. That's all.
Yeah, it's like
Just want
who
more
needs
Gotenks.
this though? Like who asked for this? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like Akira Toriyama is backing it and is helping with it. So I'm like, okay, I guess you have to.
First comment. I like how people said we want a new Dragon Ball anime now, and Toriyama went, okay, have GT2.
Yeah, that's the joke that's happening.
I don't know. One thing I will say is it does look really nice, like art style wise. It looks really
I'll
clean.
probably give it a shot because it's probably gonna pop up on Crunchyroll or something anyway. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
I just can't watch Dragon Ball. I'll watch the movies. I love the movies. But you guys can hate me. Watching episodes where they're powering up forever is not.
So my
not for
answer
me.
to that would be, which I haven't seen it myself, is to watch Dragon Ball Kai, or which is basically Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is like a like
Oh,
they
yeah.
basically like which there's nowhere to watch it.
It was
apparently.
abridged in a way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And it was.
It's-
I remember that. I remember Kai.
So then, but there's this group now of people that are like, oh, like Super actually isn't that good. Maybe GT is actually better than we remember, kind of a thing. Because there's people, especially with the manga. Apparently, the manga for Dragon Ball Super has gotten way out of hand and just like dumb stuff.
Actual Dragon Ball Abridged is the best Dragon Ball.
So, and that's
I
kind
agree.
of honestly the agreed upon thing.
So good.
Also, I think Team 4-Star is doing short clips on YouTube Shorts and TikTok now of new content.
That's awesome.
I haven't seen it myself, but
Dragon Ball Abridged was so good. That's the takeaway of this. Is go watch Dragon Ball Abridged. It's so funny.
that's everybody's take now. Everybody's like, just go
Yeah,
watch.
it's wonderful.
Just go watch Abridged instead of actual Dragon Ball.
We'll end the podcast there. Unless, are you guys geeking out about anything else this week?
I'm good.
Nope. Thanks.
I just got confirmation. We will be live next week, Monday, for 365. It was a 365.
Yeah.
Of the podcast. Also confirmed, we'll have special guest Joe Morgan.
Woo!
For those who don't know, Joe Morgan was a huge part of the podcast.
Yeah, when we first started, he was
Yeah, a while ago.
one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got
Yeah,
married.
265 episodes ago.
Dang.
Just about.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
We love Joe.
Yeah, really cool. We got everything kind of penned out for going to Austin, Texas for the
Heck
Nerd
yeah.
Culture
Nice.
Summit. I want to make sure I'm saying that right. Nerd Culture LTN. Make sure that I got the right thing. Nerd Culture Ministry Summit. That'll be in Austin, Texas in November. I believe it's 10th. And so if you're in the area, if you're going to the conference, 8th through the 10th, let us know. Me and Colby Bryant from Geeks Under Grace will be there.
Nice.
Excited to meet everybody.
Yay.
That's gonna
It'll
be
be a really
cool.
good time. Yeah, and Joe Morgan will be there too.
Yeah.
Kind of doing his own thing.
Yeah, I think with Coffee and Adventure stuff.
Yep.
Probably.
So,
Makes sense.
super exciting.
Yeah, it's all cool.
That's all I'm geeking out about. So, Shelly, where can they find you at?
I'm on Twitter at theshellshock24.
And LJ?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter under LJ the Paladin.
All right. And you can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. Keep gaming. Keep praying. And God bless.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.